Hey everyone, welcome back to the C-Wire Nation. It's C-Wire, back with another video. Alright, so we're going to go over and talk about what's going on in the gaming sphere. I haven't done a gaming video in a while, so I wanted to shoot one out. So it looks like PlayStation's bringing over some of their games multi-platform. Looks like they're going in the same direction, at least a little bit, much like Microsoft is doing, going the third-party route. Now, I've seen a lot of people online, Sony fans, that are pissed off about this, and this is what I got to say to that. And it's the same thing I said when Xbox fans got pissed off about their titles going over to PlayStation. What do you care? Honestly, at this point, what do you care? As long as you get to play that game under the piece of plastic that sits under your TV, what do you give a shit? Me, personally, I don't care. And you all have to look at it this way. These companies want to make money. These games are taking longer to make. And not only that, they're getting increasingly more expensive. And they got to recoup that cost somewhere. So, on a monetary side of things, this makes sense to put the games on other platforms so other people can buy them and play them. I mean, let's face it, for most of us, if not all of us, I mean, there's a few outliers there, may only have one, maybe two consoles. And like I've said before, I have a Nintendo Switch, the original, which I'm still playing, so I'm not ready to buy a Switch 2 yet, but I will eventually. And I have my Xbox Series X. I don't have another, well, now almost $700 to dump on a PlayStation to play some of their single-player exclusive titles. So with them bringing some of those games over, and if it's a game that I'm definitely interested in playing, I'll be more than happy to pick it up and pay the freight on it and play that game. Because you got to understand, the more that they sell of that game, if it's a title you really like, the more likely you are to get a sequel. You have to look at it this way. The landscape of gaming is changing. And Microsoft got a lot of flack for this, doing this, going forth with this. But, I think PlayStation saw the success that they're having, and now they want to emulate it for themselves. Excuse me. But that's where gaming's at, man. Gaming's going in a whole new direction. The whole idea of console exclusivity is going away, and we have to change with it. Now it's just going to be when these companies put out their new hardware, which is coming. It's basically going to be, which platform do you want to play these games on? Because let's be realistic, for a lot of us, a lot of the games that we buy, especially if you play games a lot, are third-party titles to begin with. Okay? So with that being said, playing it either on a PlayStation or an Xbox, what does it matter? Me, myself, I'm going to get the next Xbox. It has nothing to do with not liking PlayStation. It's just because I have so much invested into the Xbox already with controllers and my library. It just makes sense for me to stay there. And this is going to be vice versa for people that are on the PlayStation side of the house. They probably have a lot of money invested into the ecosystem. So for them to pay out another, let's just say the new consoles are at, $900, right? Because we don't know what these things are going to cost, but we'll say $900. And then plus the games, plus the additional controllers and everything else, you're looking at well over $1,000. Now, the only thing that would, curve that off a little bit is Xbox Game Pass, which I subscribe to. I am a champion for it. I love Game Pass. It saves me a lot of money because I get to play games at will, or check out games that I may have passed on because I just don't have the money for it, didn't want to take a chance on it, and, I'm able to check these titles out. If they're good, I continue to play them. If not, I just delete them and I check something else out. So, and I'm hoping, for a lot of you PlayStation fans that, Sony gives you a better subscription service for your games. I hope, they see the success that Game Pass is having, and is definitely is having success, and they emulate that as well, because it's a good value. It's good all around for everybody. So that's my thoughts on that. Like I said, I grew up in the NES through the 16-bit up until now time frame. So, I can remember back in the day when we would have arguments at the bus stop, what was better, the NES or the Sega Genesis. Now, I'm going to tell you, we had one kid on our block that had gotten a Genesis, and we all went over and played it, and our faces were melted at that time. So we never seen anything like it. To see it up close, we're like, okay, we got to get this. But then the Super Nintendo was announced, and a lot of us went and bought that. But I eventually did get a Genesis. You know what tipped me over the edge for that? Streets of Rage. Totally. Especially being a big fan of Final Fight. And Final Fight on the Super Nintendo was... It was cool to have it, but it was a letdown because Guy wasn't in the game, and a lot of things were missing from the game that Capcom took out. And Sega just went all in on Streets of Rage and gave us the side-scroller beat-em-up that we've all been wanting. And it's just a great game, even though Streets of Rage 2 should be in the Smithsonian, in my opinion, along with the original arcade version of Final Fight, which you can get now and play, no problem, on any console. But, yeah, the day, that's just, the console exclusivity, it's an outdated system. And with the way the technology is moving, the way that we're able to play our games and access our games, it's just everything is now moving in a new direction, and we're just going to have to move with it. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to check out some of the PlayStation titles that they bring over. I have Helldivers pre-ordered. So I'm definitely excited to jump into that and check that out, because that was a game I heard a lot about. When I heard it was coming over, I was like, great, cool, this is something that I want. So with that being said, what say you? Meet me down in the comments. Give me your thoughts on this. I would love to hear about it. And I'll catch you on the next video. C-Wire, Pop and Smoke, out.